Boom, 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 boom. Hi everybody, come with me. 20 bucks. 20 bucks. We're on the line for 20 bucks. Hi Jabor. Hope everything's okay with you. It's a great day here. It's lovely. It's sunny. We can actually turn the heat down. Fantastic. So, welcome everybody. I'm Maggie, Mrs. Calabash. Come into my kitchen. It's getting a little bit warm in the kitchen actually today. As I say, I've turned the heating down because, whew, yeah, I should have worn a cooler top. Today I'm going to make something that's my favourite. Crispy wontons, and it's a carrot ginger soup. I love soup. I can eat soup any time of the day. But I don't always want a slice of bread to go with the soup. And I like to serve something like a wonton because it's got goodness in it as well. It adds a little bit of flavour, a little bit of difference to the meal. And these make a great appetizer as well. I actually like them with some dip, make some sauce up and eat them with a salad. You know, the versatile. It doesn't have to be one thing or the other. So let's just go back to the stove, and I'm going to start making just cooking the pork off for the wontons because I want it to cool a little bit. So come back with me. I've already cooked in here. I've already cooked the shrimp for the wonton, so I'm not going to drain that fat at all. I want the flavour of the shrimp to go with the pork. So this is ground pork, and I'm actually making half this quantity because there's only two of us, and they are better freshly made. So I'm just making two, so just for two of us, so that we can eat them with a bowl of soup. But have the pan nice and hot, and we're just going to cook this pork until it's brown. Oh, it gets a bit warm. And I need to go and get my shrimp and green onions. So just bear with me a minute. I'm just going to go to the side over here and get the shrimp and the green onions. There we are. So you see, I've got the shrimp. You can use a can of shrimp if you've got some canned shrimp. But I just use some frozen shrimp, defrosted, cooked in some a little butter with some seasoning, and then just chop them. Because this is going to be cooked again. There we are. It's nicely browned. So what have I got? I want to add the shrimp to it. And we'll drain that if needs be, but there's not, no, it's a nice lean, it was a nice lean, nice lean piece of pork. Green onions, where's my green onions? There we are. Nicely chopped green onions. And this is just a little soy sauce and some cornstarch. I do have a little more cornstarch, just in case there's not enough. It might not thicken it enough to what I like. I always have extra, just in case. There we are. We don't want it too thick. It's just to hold the shrimp and the meat together. I'm just going to put a little seasoning in that. Let me taste that, turn it off. and I want that to cool. So, that's good. There we are. So come back with me. I'm going to put it in this bowl just to cool. Actually, on tasting it, I'm going to add just a little more soy sauce for my taste. So let's go into the cupboard. Boom, 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 boom. And sorry, Derek, I'm walking backwards and forwards.
It's okay.
He loses me. He's not a mind reader. I don't know, sometimes he is. You see, it's not going to make too many, but I want them to be fresh. Let's just have a little taste. That's better. Yeah, much better. So I'm going back to the stove. Come with me. And we're going to make some carrot soup. I've got my big pot because I'm going to use the immersion blender in it, and I don't want to mess up my other pots. Now this on here is my fat pan. We'll watch that. We'll turn the heat on that in a minute. So I just got the heat nicely warmed up, and in here I've actually chopped very, very finely because I want it to cook quickly, and the finer that you chop it, the more flavour is going to come out when you're making a soup. So I've got onion, ginger and garlic in there, and I'm going to put it all in together. And it's the same with the carrots. I chop the carrots very, very finely. If you don't want to do it by hand, just put it in a food processor and pulse it. But watch, so you don't want it to go to a mush, but just put it in a food processor and pulse it. It saves time. There we are. Now this isn't going to take long to cook because it's all been chopped very, very finely. I've got some Mrs. Calabash curry powder here. I've got some extra just in case. These measurements are a guideline, and sometimes you need, when you finish cooking, you need to add just a little bit extra. But put that in at this stage so that it can roast, and by roasting it brings out the flavour. And now I'm going to add the carrots. I know the recipe said, what did it say, 4 large carrots. Yeah. The only carrots I could find were little carrots. So, use your common sense. And the small and the very, very sweet. There's just one thing, remember, if you're diabetic like me, carrots have got sugar in. So just bear that in mind when you eat the carrots with something else. There we are, that's cooking up beautifully. And as I say, because everything is so finely chopped, it's not going to take long to cook. Now I'm going to add, what should I put in next? I've got chicken stock, but if you're vegetarian, use vegetable stock. I've got some chicken stock. Let's put that in. And just bring it up to the boil. If you're vegetarian, and you could always add a few lentils to this, not many, a few red lentils, and that would give you just some extra protein. I was talking to a friend yesterday, and she's gone vegetarian. She's trying to cut out all animals, so she's trying to cut out dairy as well as meat. And she was complaining of feeling very lethargic. She said, I really don't have a lot of energy. She's up early in the morning, like I am, but she said, I'm dead, absolutely dead, by about 11:30, 12 o'clock. And I said, well, what are you eating? And she told me. I said, well, you're not getting enough proteins in there. I said, you really must start incorporating a little tofu and some nuts. I mean, you could throw a few nuts in here, some chopped nuts when you finish cooking, and that will add some protein. And I said, you really do need some more lentils. You know, you've got to look, peas, beans and lentils, your legumes, they're your second-class protein. And my stepdaughter, she's a good Catholic girl. That's coconut milk. And she decided that she wasn't going to go to university straight from high school. She lived in England. So she was 18. The next thing we knew, she was in Israel in a kibbutz. And she thoroughly enjoyed it. But the only thing was that they could eat like a cafeteria, because of course they grew everything, and she'd just say, yeah, I want that, that, that and that. So, great. She came back to England, having done 2 years on the kibbutz as a vegetarian, and I said, well, that's great, but you don't cook. Well, that's okay. I said, no, it's not okay. You need your nutriments. No, wait, I explained. I lent her a book, a Mahir Jeffries book on Indian vegetarian cooking. That was 40 odd years ago, and she's still using it. She's turned into a great cook. But another thing was that she had another bout, did a few years at university, and decided that she was going to go to China. So I said, why? Oh, I'm just going to go. I'm going to China. So she took herself off, went on the Orient Express, met a Russian guy who was part Canadian, part Russian, went to China, and she thought, great, I'm vegetarian, not a problem. Well, there was a problem because they used chickens for the stock. What they were going to make the stock with, they used chicken. And so she couldn't eat it. And she ate some biscuits. And we were living in France when she came back. And met her off the plane. And she's very tall, was red-headed in those days. And all under her eyes were brown. And I thought, oh my gosh, what's she on? First thing, I thought, oh my goodness, you know, what is she doing? And it wasn't, it was malnutrition. So I had to sort of slip things in to like protein powder, and I beat egg into potatoes and things like this to build. And after about 6 weeks, she was looking an awful lot better. But it just shows you've got to be really, really careful with your diet. And I know I mean, my friend is very well educated, and she's always, as she said, very careful with the diet, but she hadn't realised. I said, cut the tofu up in little strips and put it in some soup so you're not eating a big mouthful. And you could do that with this, you know, just cut it into like little julienne strips and put it in and heat it through, and you're going to get some protein. So enough of the lecture. We put that on to boil. We're just going to turn it down. It won't take long. And you see I've got the fat pan on here, and in here I've got some clean oil, and we need to bring this up to what do we bring it up to? 360 Fahrenheit, 180 Celsius. So it's on about 260 at the moment. Let's go back to the butcher block. We'll have a talk. There we are. Woo, boo, boo. I've got papers everywhere. Look, you can see what I do. I make notes on my recipes, and and so I know what I'm doing. I've got a memory like a sieve. For the curry powder, Derek will put the recipe up, but you can make your own curry powder with what you've got on the shelf. I was always taught that a curry powder never had black pepper in it, but that probably depends on what part of India you come from. The gentleman that taught me about spices was, he only spoke Urdu to begin with, and I only spoke English, but he had a spice warehouse, and we gradually got to know each other and could correspond. And he told me that they never put black pepper in curry powder, and each family has its own recipe for curry powder. So what I do, I use ground cardamom, ground mustard seeds. I just have a little spice grinder. I have the whole seeds and just use a little coffee grinder. Ginger powder, coriander. I use fenugreek, but sometimes it's difficult to find fenugreek. Cumin, turmeric and chilies, and I just mix it all together. If you want a stronger curry powder, then put more chilies in. You know, it's up to you. Some people just like a mild curry powder. I like a more pungent one, but it's entirely up to you. And that is cooling. Now to eat with the wontons, I'm going to make a mustard sauce. And this is water, a little soy sauce, and mustard powder. So let's see if we can mix it all in here together. The mustard powder, I just grind my own mustard seeds, and a little soy sauce. And that just, can you see, that just makes a mustard sauce. Now, there's a sweet and sour sauce. Excuse me, I'm going to wash my hands now, I'm sticky. There's a sweet and sour sauce recipe there. And another, this is Mrs. Calabash red pepper jelly, hot pepper jelly. That goes, you can melt that and use it in your sweet and sour sauce. Instead of using plum and grape, just melt that down and use that as a dipping sauce. So I don't need that. So, to the wontons. You see, I've got it covered in saran wrap because they can dry out. Let me just go back and have a look at this fat. 3, it's getting there. It's getting there. I don't want it to get too hot. There we are. So, if you use an egg wrapper, an egg roll wrapper, cut it in half. Or just make a big one and enjoy a big one. So, I'm just going to put water around the edge. No, I want a spoon. There we are. You don't want too much in the centre because you've got to pull it over. Ah, I can't move it. There we are. Now we want to make sure that there's a little bit too much in there. Look, it's coming out. Because if you put too much in, when you're frying, it will escape and then it'll go into your oil. But just a little cornstarch sometimes around the edge. Cornstarch mixed with water helps seal. Like that. You know what I'm going to do? Because this is, I normally do bigger ones. Let's just make sure that the edge is sealed. But what I'm going to do, like that, I know it's not traditional, but I'm going to do it like this. I'll just fry these few up and then I will finish them off later. But make sure that they're really well pressed down. That's why you can't have too much filling in there. Make sure they're really, really sealed. I can't stress that enough. Let's do another one. Just one more. Look, it's escaped. And then I can fry some more up later. Now, you can just make a vegetarian version of this. Put cabbage, bean shoots, some shredded carrot, and cook it in exactly the same way. So you can go vegetarian or you can go this way. And I'm going to leave those now, and we can cook those up later. Let me just clean my mess up. Come on, back over with me. Back over with me to the stove. Right. That's getting hot. Let's remove my... Let's have a look at this. That's cooked. Turn that down. What I'm going to do is just put a little bit of wonton wrapper in there. See if it fries up. Yeah, come up to the top, look. Because if you have it too hot, it's going to burn. There we are. Come on. I'll move that. Now what I've done, look, I've got a separate sieve here because I want to drain them well. And there we are. They don't take long to cook because just remember, the wrapper itself is very thin. Everything else is cooked. I'm going to move them over to the back here. There we are. They're almost cooked. And I'm going to bring this further forward just so that I can emulsify. Now you can use, obviously, you can use your food processor, but I I like doing it this way. Let's have a look at those. Yes, beautiful. Just another minute on that side. And we want to just strain them so we're not getting too much fat in there. Beautiful. Concentrate on this. Let me taste that. It needs a little lemon rind in there, just to add some flavour. Just a little seasoning. It has got enough. It has got enough carrot in there. You can add a little more carrot if you want it in there. You know, it depends on. It's a nice thin soup, this one. But if you wanted to make it thicker, add some more carrot to it. Add a little cornstarch to it, and that will thicken. We're going to dish up. This is where I grunt. It just depends how emulsified you want the carrot. I like to be able to taste the carrot, so I don't emulsify too much. We're going to dish up a bowl of soup. Bring out the dish for the wrappers. Put the wrappers on. Ooh, look at that. Beautiful. Where a nice bowl of soup. Oh, look. Look at that. A nice bowl of soup. You can put some more lemon zest on there if you like. The soup. What should we use? Just a couple of wrappers. A little sauce. A little mustard sauce. And I think a little, ooh, I would if I could get it open. I processed it extremely well. I can't open it. $10, $20. Bye everybody. Thanks very much for watching. See you next week. Go to Mrs. Calabash.